Hello, everybody. All right, welcome to the mic stand. Today, of course, is Sunday, April the 19th, 2020, 2026. So I hope everybody's having a good day today. Good weekend. Of course, this is our weekly look down comics history lane as we're continuing our trip back to August of 1940 of comics that went on sale on that day. I'm gonna First thing I'm gonna do before we get too much into all that, I hand it off to my co-host for the evening, the Metal. Give him a chance to promote any project he's doing, any upcoming streams you may want to promote or anything like that. Metal, the floor is all yours. I'll be right back.
Oh,
I'm
darn.
close to
I don't have any links on me. I have to go get them.
I guess we'll wait for him. Wait for that then. I guess while he goes does that. So I guess while we're waiting for him to come back, then.
Oh, no, I'm here.
Well,
So, like, I'm at my computer, but I'm not at my computer, right? I've got my second monitor duplicating my main screen, shifted over towards my drawing desk because I need to kind of like draw a little here and there while we do this because I'm behind on things. So like I could see everything that's going on, but I have to like take 4 steps over to my computer to be able to like type in the chat. But anyway, hey, I'm the Metal. I'm the creator of X Dynamis Chaos that you can find over at xdynamuschaos.com, which is one of the things that I'm drawing for right now is actually one of the pages for the main web comic of X Dynamis Chaos. You could go over there. Apparently, you can spend hours on that site if you haven't ever read any of the stuff there, because man, has it been busy this weekend. It's one of the things that have been getting me off my butt to make another page. I'm like, there's a lot of people looking at my site. I should probably upload something. So you could go over there and check it out. I also occasionally stream over on the Vomitorium, whose link is not in the chat, but will be in like a second.
and of course, I've already put up his X Dynamis link if you guys want to go check that out.
Yeah,
and,
there it is.
and of course now we'll show you his YouTube link.
Which I will be streaming on sometime this upcoming week because Honkai Star Rail has a patch coming out this week. So probably in the later half, we'll be streaming some of that.
All right. Anything more you want to promote or say before we move on?
That's it.
All right. So with that being said, then, all right. So let's talk about what's on tap for tonight. So as I said earlier, we're going to be going through comics that went on sale in August of 1940. This week we'll be focusing in on comics from Fox Feature Syndicate, including, of course, Wonder World Comics number 18, Mystery Men Comics number 15. Let's see. Fantastic Comics number 11. The final issue of Science Comics number 8. And then Weird Comics number 7. Also, there were a number of reprint collections, quarterlies that came out, that debuted that month, including Green Mask, Red Dexter of Mars, and The Flame, as I recall. So all the number ones came out. And as was the case back in those days, of course, some of those early quarterly titles were, a lot of them were reprint collections from stories previously done in the anthology titles that these characters were featured in. So tonight we'll be reading through, of course, The Flame. We'll start with The Flame and go over to the Green Mask in Mystery Men number 15. Then head over and hit up the Golden Knight in in Fantastic Comics number 11. Then we will also, Science number 8 will be hitting up Dynamo and wrapping things up with Fox's version of Thor in Weird Comics number 7. So that's the plan. And of course, as always, we'll get into this weekend in each history at the end of the show. Metal, did you just want to do commentary tonight, or did you want to?
Yes, no, just commentary.
All right. All right. So with that being said, then, with all that being said, of course, a friendly reminder to everybody, if you haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and pull up our material here, as it were. As I said, the first book we're going to be looking at, of course, is Wonder World Comics number 15. The flame right there.
That's very dangerous.
What, the fire gun right there?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Fire gun versus slapjack. Yeah.
That guy could just die.
Let's see. Also featured, of course, Yarko the Great, Spark Stevens, Patty O'Day. And then here's Cuba, both vitamin B and cola. All right, so The Flame by Basil Barold. All right, so let's see. Let's get into this. Endowed with the power over fire, the greatest secrets of the Grand High Lamas, the Grand High Law, all right, law. I guess that's supposed to be law was, I guess, but they jammed it together there. It looks like Grand High Law was the flame, carries on an unrelenting, single-handed war against crime. The horrible death awaiting the loser. The flame battles against the sinister fifth column.
Is that llamas?
Huh?
Grand High Llamas, like the Dalai Lama?
Oh yeah, you're probably right. That's right. Yeah, because I do remember now that you said that. I think he did get empowered by the llama. Yeah, it just looked like a W. I mean, I thought maybe they jammed law and was together, but I guess Grand High Llamas. You're really right there. The Office of John Markham, Special United States Prosecutor. Oh, before we do get into the dialogue there, for anybody who doesn't know, Metal, do you happen to know what the fifth column was? What they're referring to?
Oh, I've heard it said many times, but I don't remember what it is off the top of my head.
I believe it was basically, it was kind of they were part of the Nazis. I believe they were like the agents they'd send to America to try to subvert American involvement in the war. Like the brown shirts and all that.
Be like residuals too. There was like in the Blues Brothers where they have to deal with the Illinois Nazis. I hate Illinois Nazis.
Yeah. Let me, since I'm not. I mean, I know it has something to do with Nazis and stuff, but I've never actually looked it up or. Okay, a fifth column or internal enemy, so I'm looking this up on Wikipedia here, is a group of people who undermine a larger group or nation from within, usually in favor of an enemy group or another nation. So yeah, and that would
It
work
doesn't have to be the Nazis. It could be like in any nation or whatever.
right. But it was that's what they commonly referred to those agents of the Nazis who were doing that states back in the 1940s, obviously. So, anyways, as we of course continue on here, these fifth column organizations must be wiped out, and Termania Bund must be the first to go. The home of William Hoyt, well-known philanthropist. Mr. Markham is a very conscientious man. It's about time these traitors to our democracy were wiped out. Yes, Mr. Hoyt. Careful not to be seen by Mr. Hoyt, the butler steals out of the house. Now, steal here in this particular case just means to kind of like sneak away. I think is the context there.
Yeah, without notice.
Yeah.
It's
go ahead.
An older use for steal too didn't necessarily meant taking, let's say, like physical things. Sometimes it could be used to be like taking time as well. So like you could steal time, which is often like sneaking away. You can steal attention. You know, there's multiple uses of that word that we still sometimes occasionally use, but people don't pay attention to other uses. It just kind of comes out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm probably one of the few people who would be more inclined to use some of those older variations from time to time, you know, just because I'm big on like vocabulary and all that. So, but anyways, getting back to the story, of course. A moment later, a bomb is hurled at Ronaldson's car. Bang! From the burning car appears the flame. What fiend could have been responsible for this dastardly deed? Did you know the man in the car? Yes, that man was Ronaldson, my butler. Where was he going when the bomb was thrown? I don't know. That's something I'm going to find out. There's more behind this than meets the eye. Oh, look at that!
Yeah. I have a question before we start moving on. So can he like just pop out of any flame? Is that like one of his abilities, or was he just using it as like a cover for getting in there?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because the first two stories we're gonna hit up tonight here, the Flame and the Green Mask. They have one of their powers is very similar. In the case of the Flame, he can basically cut, as you just put it, come out of any flame. The Green Mask can actually come out of any form of like gas, travel through like gas or something like that. So
like if I was in trouble and I needed the Flame to come and help me, I could just like start a trash fire real quick and I'd be fine. He could just like pop up there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he actually would. I don't think you'd have to go that far to do it. I'm sure you just call on him, but I guess if you were in a pinch, I guess you could theoretically do that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if all you were doing was just, again, causing a treasure. I don't think he would just come for that. I mean, could you
No,
imagine?
no. Obviously,
Could you imagine? Could you imagine like being in a situation like, let's say, like for a husband and wife, let's say they're in their cabin somewhere, enjoying their peace and quiet. And they decide to start a cozy fire, and then all of a sudden the flame pops out in front of them.
yeah, no. I'm implying that there's already a situation where you're like, I need the flame here, so I'm going to just start a trash fire. Right.
Yeah.
In like a real situation. I'm not just calling him because I'm locked out of my house or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, you don't want me. You want the locksmith. Completely different hero.
Right. Yeah. Well, you notice there too. Well, it's kind of funny, and I don't know if that was just their maybe veiled way of trying to get the swastika in there or something like that. You see the behind the guy there on stage there.
Yeah.
The white background with the so that has a couple of different connotations. Usually, either first aid, medical first aid, or I believe that's also the I believe that's the flag of Switzerland. I think Switzerland or Sweden or something like that.
Well, theirs goes all the way to the edge.
Hmm.
Right. It's a cross that goes all the way, both horizontally and vertically. Yeah, first aid's like that. Technically, you could say it's a symbol of the Red Cross, though.
Yeah.
The way people subvert it is they'll do like red on white instead of white on red, because the Red Cross actually has a trademark around their symbol and will actually file suit if you use it without paying their license. It's kind of crazy on that. But yeah.
All right. So as we continue on here, Camp Allwalt, Fritz Kessel, leader of the Terminal Bund, is making a speech. John Markham has evidence against us. Dot evidence must be stolen from der safe of Markham. That night, this is Markham's office. Flash on the light, Mike. Okay, Slim. That sure looks tough. Light the torch. Oh, boy. As the torch flares up, greetings, gentlemen. Holy smokes, Slim. Look. You fellows ought to learn that breaking into the offices is dishonest. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Just a moment. I want to have want to have a word with you. Oh,
Is the word
Well, I don't. Granted, I'm not. Based on how he's got the gun angled, I don't know if he's actually directly firing at, because it looks like he's off to, like, if you look at how the
yeah, I see how the flame's going. I think it's this artist is just really bad with drawing something like a flame flying in perspective, because that entire thing in the background is on fire, and that thing looks like the silhouette of the man he was shooting at.
Yeah. Well, I think also the idea is that I think the idea he was going for, that he wasn't really able to do for whatever reason, was the idea of basically getting a wall of fire in front of the guy, either that or doing like a full-on encircling flame.
Yeah, well, he failed. That just looks like he set a dude on fire, which
exactly
would kill him. That's how you kill people.
Yeah, by setting them ablaze.
Yeah, and I'm fine with heroes killing people, but you're not really going to have a word with somebody if they're dead.
Yeah. Unless well, I don't think that's part of his power set, but unless you have some form of, unless you know some form of necromancy.
I'm even starting to get skeptical of this person's pyromancy, given the fact that he needs a gun to shoot his flames out.
Tell me who sent you before I break your neck. Fritz Kretzel. He wanted us to steal the evidence Markham has against the Termina Society. The flame quickly makes his way to Camp Oswald. If I tangle with them, I might warn Ketzel and give him time to escape. It's a solid wall, but my flame gun will make short work of it. Ja! And you don't have to worry about him. I'll take care of him, Herr Führer. I guess I should have read the bottom verse, I guess, but I hear the flame. I hear the flame is after us. I want him stopped. I guess I should have read the bottom first. Kind of a weird. Usually you go top to bottom in that situation, but I guess these guys decided to go. Well, I guess because of the perspective there with the guy sitting with his back to us,
Yeah, this is the Wild West of comics. Nothing was set in stone yet. People were figuring it out, making stupid decisions.
Himmel, what is? Since you're talking about me, may I join the little discussion? I'm very curious to know what your. I'm very curious to know what your face looks like. Suppose you uncover it. Before the flame can act, one of Kessel's henchmen shoots. Ja, Mr. Flame, you didn't think you could get over the best of us, was? Throw him in the cellar. Take care of him later. And now, Kessel, it's up to you to stop John Markham from going on with his trial. But how? You're very stupid, Kessel. I believe Mr. Markham has a daughter. Ah, so you want me to kidnap his daughter? You can cool your heels in there for a while, Flame. I hope Kessel lets me take care of him. Lucky that bullet just grazed my head. Knocked me out, I guess. I better get out of here. Heaven knows what Kessel is up to. Well, heaven and us, we know what he's up to, don't we, there, Metal?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh? Get out of my way, you rat. I hope you break your neck. Wow! He's a nice guy, isn't he?
You don't need to be nice to Nazis.
I hope you break your neck.
Yeah. You'd be like, listen, man, I hate you so much. I hope you get cancer the second your daughter gets pregnant.
We could devolve and get into even worse statements, but we digress. With those two out of the way, I'll see about stopping Kessel and his mysterious friend. Gone. Well, it won't take me long to catch up with Kessel. Next day, the Markham apartment. Jerry and I are going out for a few sets of tennis. We'd better hurry, Diana. Oh, I'm sorry. We'd better hurry, Diana. uh, all right, daughter, but don't be late for lunch. As Jerry and Diana leave the house, they are suddenly attacked. Let me go! Jerry, help! Where are you taking? No, I'm sorry. Where do we take her? Kessel wants us to take her to Camp Otwalt.
I don't trust these people taking anyone to a camp.
Dad will do his duty. You can't stop him. So maybe then I tell him what we is going to do to you. He will drop their case he has against the Termania Bund. Receiving a note threatening the life of his daughter, John Markham rushes to his friend William Hoyt. They've got Diana. What'll I do? It's a hard decision. It's a hard decision to make, John. But you have a duty to perform. As Hoyt strikes a match, the flame materializes from the burning end. What in heaven? Well, there's another way you can. Hey, there's another way you can summon him.
Yeah. I was wondering how big the flame had to be. I was thinking maybe just the match I needed to light the trash fire, but I wasn't sure. So I was going with a full-blown trash fire so you'd have plenty of room to rise out of it. But apparently all we need is the match.
What has happened? They they threatened to kill Diana unless Markham drops the charges against the officers of the Termania Bund. I can't let them kill my girl. Carry on with the case, Markham. I'll save Diana. If you're going to Camp Oswald, you can take my car. That car has been following me for the last 10 minutes. Wonder what's up. Yeah, very interesting there. Any thoughts, Metal?
No. No thoughts, only flames.
So no thoughts on any possible twists that we might be seeing coming up, maybe?
More fire.
More fire. What the? As the car plunges down, the flame shoots a blazing column to the top of the bridge and runs up the fiery span. So he just basically made a bridge of fire from the water to the bridge.
If it works for him, that's all that matters. You know,
Yeah.
if you have got the ability to run on fire, why not?
Hmm. Somebody is going to pay for this. I kind of wonder though why Hoyt would maybe lend him his car.
Because he's helping the other people.
Maybe he's a secret agent, maybe, or a secret double agent.
I don't know. I never trust anybody in any of these stories.
Well, we never know just how the twists and turns will pan out. So, anyways,
And like these authors usually pick like when it comes to a twist, like the lamest twist you could possibly do. Like almost the most obvious twist. They never ever go out of left field with something you wouldn't expect, and it's like it's not even fun.
do you see any signs of that thus far in this story?
Yeah, well, like you said, the Hoyt very easily could be, and that would be an obvious setup. It wouldn't really be fun if he was.
Yeah, that's as far as you go. Now I'll see what that guy looks like. As the flame scoops over the prostrate man, a chunk of steel is smashed into his face. That's one time your flame gun didn't kill your victim. Before the police can stop him, the mystery man leaps into their car. Hey, wait. Hey, y'all, get out of that car!
At least they acknowledge that his flame gun kills the people he sets on fire.
Later at Camp Oswald,
It almost looks like the start of a different comic, right? It's not, but the way they decided to do the later, it's almost like a
yeah,
comic strip was added in here.
yeah, yeah. Get busy. You two, you know what to do. Your father refuses to drop the charges against us. Maybe he'll change his mind when he gets one of your ears in the mail.
I don't know, man. I'd be like, no dice. It's like, what am I going to do with just ear? You have to give me the rest of the body too. You know, like I need the complete set.
Yeah. Yeah, but well, I think though the idea that they would go as far as to actually cut off her ear to send it to him, I think would be the shock value they're probably looking for.
And be like, I don't know, man. I need the complete set. He's like, what? You send me one finger? Come on, I need all of them, and the hand attached to it, and the arm, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Put on that light, Red. I want to see what I'm doing. The flame! How in blazes?
Yeah, exactly. In blazes. That's how we got here.
Thanks for letting me in, friend. If I had time, I'd explain how I do these things. But yeah, like tell your enemy how you can get to them. They'll make sure. Okay, we're not gonna do that then. The flame is here. The flame, Donner Mitter. Excuse me. I thought he was locked up in the cellar. Get their Tommy guns. We got to kill their flame. Hurry up. Now I'll get you out of here. Quick, Flame. They're after us. Shoot them both. I'll make short work of them. That just blast them with fire. Even for somebody being rescued, that's still got to be somewhat horrific to watch.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
well, thankfully they're going away from the flames.
I'm going to go here for a quick moment, Metal. So if you want to talk to the chat, see.
Yeah. Well, thankfully they're going away from the flames, so she doesn't have to smell searing human flesh, which is not a very good smell at all. If you've ever smelt it, it's not, especially because we don't season our flesh when we sear it. It's not like we're eating a steak or something. It's just raw human meat burning. It's one of the least pleasant things you can ever possibly smell. So even for somebody being saved, awful situation. It's also one of the, I guess, the most brutal ways that somebody who's supposed to be a hero can end up killing people. Not that, the people he's killing don't deserve it. I'm not objecting to him murdering people this way, but it is one of the most horrific ways you could do it. I don't know if people would consider it such a heroic stance. But this is coming around the time of like the World War, where flamethrowers were also just a very popular weapon. Mostly in the first one because of the trenches, but they were still used very, very often in the second one. And so it kind of makes sense why you'd create a hero who has this tactic, I guess I could say.
All right, I'm back. So we ready to continue on, I guess?
Somebody who's more heroic probably would just put a bullet in the enemy's head so they don't have to suffer from burning to death, but it's not a very merciful way to kill villains.
Get in that car and don't stop till you get home. I'm going to wipe out Camp Oswald. As Diana drives away, a sinister figure suddenly pounces upon her. Oh! Flame! Flame! Help! What the devil? Deftly aiming his flame gun, the flame blasts away at the engine of the car. Bang! I've got to stop that car. You will die in spite of the flame. As the murderer is about to plunge the knife into Diana's heart, the flame leaps on his back. Take this, you. Coming at me with a knife again, huh? This ought to stop you, rat. We'll take that out. We'll take that hat out of your face, so we can see who you are. Why? It's William Hoyt.
The most obvious direction it could go. Not fun at all.
Yes, I'm the real leader of Camp Oswald and the Termania Bund. Yeah, I had a feeling based on how all that was being set up. But then again, as you put it, probably one of the most obvious setups of all time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I cannot put my drink there. That is a dangerous place for me to leave my drink. Let me move that.
Hmm. Why did you kill your own butler? He suspected me of being the leader of the bund. I blew up his car that day because I knew he was going to Markham to expose me. Before we go to the police, I'll wipe out Camp Oswald, a place one of my neighbors, I believe, or one of his friends, anyways. I'll wipe out Camp Oswald. A place like this has no business existing in this country. William Hoyt is leader of the Termania Bund, philanthropist, brains behind fifth column activities. The flame wipes out Camp Oswald. The flame did all right. I wonder who he is. He promised to come to our wedding, Jerry. The flame's the man who saved Diana's life. That's enough for me. Oh. Follow the flame in the next issue. Wonderworld Comics is on sale the 28th of every month. All right, so we're through the first story of the evening. Metal overall impressions.
I don't even know what to think here. I mean, there's a lot of fire. That's always a positive, you know. Like even my criticism of it's not very heroic to set people ablaze alive and watching them burn to death. Fire is still fun. Fire good, burn, burn. So that's a positive. Um, he's really goofy. I like that. You know, like I like the idea that he could just come out of a flame the size of a match. That's pretty fun. The writing, though, for the plot left a lot wanting, but I don't know. I like the character. This is my first time reading a flame with you, so I've never seen this character before. But his power set is fun, and the way he does things is fun. But like it's a little goofy. Like I don't know if you're supposed to take him too serious because even like a little kid at the time that this was made, watching a man who's supposed to be a hero set people on fire. Not that it was standard yet that heroes don't kill. Plenty of heroes killed at this time, but
Right.
the way that he killed people is just
Well, if
like,
you think,
oh,
yeah,
this is like a trench fighter in a war just setting someone on fire. That's a little goofy.
well, you have to remember too. These comics, we looking back on them from our perspective
No,
here.
I'm thinking about it in the perspective like what was the standard at the time that this was written.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
they were pretty mature, but then again, kids, I mean, these comics, I think, like much golden age entertainment, whether it be comics or films or even cartoons, seem to be made for both kids and adults. In some ways.
I'm trying to look at this from a kid's perspective. This is like fire good, fire burn, burn, burn. That's fun. But also at the same time, it is a little goofy for a hero to be just setting people alive and watching them burn. You know, like.
Well,
But I
also,
think that's fun. That's a fun thing. That's not even a criticism of it.
and comparing the times to like back then to now too. Here's another thing to take into consideration too. I would make the argument that kids back in this time period, back in the 40s here, late 30s, early 40s, due to the circumstances they were living in, were probably considerably more mature than kids are today.
Maybe in some ways, like Maybe they knew a little more about responsibility or anything, but I would tell you, nobody's ever been mature, right? Your responsibility is actually the only thing that makes you mature. And the reason I know that is because we've found like ancient Akkadian tablets written in cuneiform with some of the oldest jokes we know in human history. And two of the oldest jokes were a fart joke and a he's right behind me, isn't he joke. These have been around forever, written by adults. Probably even for kids to be told it by their parents and stuff. I don't think kids have ever been more mature than fart jokes in all of human history, because adults are not more mature than fart jokes in all of human history.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I'm getting at though is like, and maybe it is that responsibility aspect that you just mentioned. Obviously 1940. So we're coming out of the Great Depression. We're still at this point. It's August 1940, so we're still about a year, maybe a year and a half or so away from our own involvement in World War II. So kids at this point in time, of course, you had a lot of, you had, one of the other features that I've read from DC talks about Squibbly Gibbet, who is a cartoonist at like 13 years old. You'd have kids who are like 13, 14, 15 going out, maybe doing some work. Hey, if it shows up.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think the only thing that ever makes anyone mature in life, period, is responsibility, right? Like, one of the things that makes somebody the most mature is once they become a parent and have to raise kids. Like that is a maturing point in life. But that doesn't, like, from a narrative perspective, when people try to think about like, I got to be more mature, that's usually pretension, especially when you look at like some of the most crass people when it comes to humor or the way they engage with media are the people who actually have the toughest responsibilities, like say like a blue collar worker or somebody especially in a danger field, like on an oil rig or on like a crab fishing boat. They typically deal with like gallows humor and stuff as a way to cope. If anything, I would say kids who the generation right before them had to go through the depression, they're still recovering from that. They're during a war, even if like here in the States they haven't directly had people they know involved with it yet, outside of a few volunteers. But recovering still from another war before that, which is 2 generations before them, technically. Like, if it is harsher time, that actually probably means that they find stuff like this even more ridiculous. Not in a bad way, mind you. That's why I'm not saying like the goofiness is a criticism. But like the gallows humor of somebody being burnt alive by a hero is maybe a type of goofiness that even people who go through tougher times appreciate more than people who go through comfortable times, because somebody who's too comfortable will be like, well, that's stupid.
Because they haven't had to see it, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it shows us, says, look at George Martin for false.
I think he's talking about specifically the Song of Ice and Fire, George R.R. Martin.
Yeah. But all right. Well, anyways, let's get ready to move on to, of course, the next story, Green Mask, and I believe he has somewhat similar. I don't know if he has the exact same powers or similar powers, but I believe he has similar powers to the Flame here, the Green Mask over in Mystery Men Comics number 15. So, Mystery Men Comics was also the anthology home for Blue Beetle as well, just in the early days.
Not to be confused with the much later movie, The Mystery Men.
Yeah. Well, here's also kind of the funny thing here too that so mystery men was probably more the common term from this time period for those who are like mass vigilantes, right?
Yeah.
Today we'd call them like mass
Men of
vigilantes or
mystery.
mass crime fighters. Back then they just simply called them mystery men.
Well, it was more than just the vigilantes, and I think that's probably why we started getting more terms, right? A mystery man or a man of mystery, both terms were used individually, often referred to anybody in the kind of like, I guess, crime fighting adventure genre, right? Not even just like local crimes, which involves vigilantes, or sometimes noir detectives would be mystery men too, men who literally solve mysteries, but also spies, espionage would have been
Mhm.
in that category. Men of mysteries who are solving international crimes and dilemma.
Right. Well, if you notice, so they had numerous genres they were writing for in this time period as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. They were all just originally action
we had
adventure.
the superhero genre, but we also did have, you pointed out, the spy genre. We had
Yeah,
the war genre, aviation genre, jungle adventures, not humor genre, even romance genre. We had
yeah,
some.
yeah.
Now those are come maybe a little later, but anyways, Peugeot's been saying a few things here. Let's.
Yeah, at one point, he probably wrote it before the stream caught up with him, but he echoed that spies and detectives were also mystery men.
What did you read? Well, our first story of the evening was The Flame, where we're basically looking at books and stories that came out in August 1940. This week we're focusing on uh, books that were published by Fox Feature Syndicate. We just read from Wonder World Comics number 18, The Flame. Now we're going to be moving on to The Green Mask um, from Mystery Men Comics number 15. And as time permits, possibly The Golden Knight from Fantastic Comics, Dynamo from Science Comics, and Fox's version of Thor from Weird Comics. So spies and detectives were called mystery men. And then you said that just as I said it. Okay. All right. So, anyways, let's get to our next story here. Let's get down to the Green Mask. Of course, there's a Blue Beetle right there. And we got the Green Mask, Rex Dexter, D13, links.
Man, old Blue Beetle.
Yeah, Dan Garrett there.
Back when most of these designs just all look the same. It's like if you,
Mm.
I mean, obviously there's subtle differences, but if you put somebody like that Blue Beetle and say like the Phantom next to each other and you
Uh-huh.
didn't color them, it'd be really hard to tell. It's like, oh wait, that guy's got a little thing on his forehead.
Yeah. Well, here's the funny thing, dude. I did remember reading the note on this, and some of the other resources I used. Of course, in this story, he's wearing yellow gloves there with his blue suit. So,
Yeah.
Wing Turner, Rex Dexter. And they did have, of course, some sci-fi stuff here. In fact, Rick and I last week when we were reading Fiction House, right? I think it was the Red comic story. So sometimes with these stories, what they may not have a title at the time they were originally published.
Yeah.
Sometimes they will retro. You might even came on when we were talking about this too, in the chat. But sometimes they will retroactively add titles. And of course, the title for this particular Red Comet story that we read last week that they retroactively put in there was "Invasion from Uranus." Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have been said as Uranus as well, but we knew the funnier way of saying it would have been Uranus.
Again, it was written partially with kids in mind, so I'm sure every kid reading it would probably say Uranus.
Yeah. Well,
I
also
prefer the
also
classic
kind of
Uranus.
the alliteration there too.
Yeah,
Invasion, Uranus. Yeah. So all right. So the Green Mask.
invading your booty.
The Green Mask by Walter Frame.
Oh, there's two green masks.
There's the smaller one, I believe, is like the kid's sidekick. Michael Shelby, placed in a Vita Ray machine, discovers that the supercharged shocks have made him a miracle man. He can zoom through the air and perform superhuman feats. He adopts a distinctive costume, and as the Green Mask, he wars against crime and rackets. The curator
Yeah.
of the city. Oh, go
I
ahead.
was saying he clearly hates tennis
He clearly hates tennis. Why do you say that?
because he wars against rackets.
All right. Well, I don't think. Obviously, I don't think that's a particular term of rackets they were using.
No, he's talking about like a
Extort.
rackets, like yeah, like some type
Racketeers.
of organization or group who is specifically trying to get one over on people. Sometimes there's very legal rackets, often insurance, and sometimes there's very, very illegal rackets.
The curator of the city museum is searching a mummy for jewelry. If I unwrap some of these bandages, I may find some golden bracelets. Suddenly, a note tied to a stone flies over the professor's shoulder. What? Who threw that? You have invaded the sanctity of Tutankhamun. Swift, swift. Okay, again. Shall strike. Can't even make out that word. One word, but is this someone's idea of a joke? Odd. No one's here. Who could have thrown that note into the room? Professor K of City Museum murdered. Curator found stabbed in the back. Can it be the mummy's curse? A mummy's curse, huh? Mummy's curse? Poppycock. That man was murdered.
Yeah, okay, what if he was murdered by a mummy, huh? Have you considered that?
Are you going to investigate? Who the devil? Who the devil are they? I, I've heard of him. He's the Green Mask. I hope we get some action. I hope I can get into the building without the police seeing us. For the love of Mike, look! It's the Green Mask Pat! Get your guns! Men, we gotta stop him!
I'm gonna have to start using that purely when I'm on your show. For the love of Mike.
uh, they spotted us. Get in that window, Domino, before one of us gets hit. What do you want? Get out, or I'll call the police. I'm here to help, Professor. I want to find the murderer of Professor Carey. You notice how they did the abbreviation there instead of spelling out the full word?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we already said Professor One, so like, if you can't figure out that's what we mean, that's on you.
That man broke into my office. Stop, Green Mask, or I'll shoot. Sorry, old man. I can't stop now. Cross your fingers, Domino, and pray I don't miss that street lamp. Yeah, they would say words like pray back in these days too. You notice that?
I still use that.
Yeah.
Probably because my mom used to use that. You know, it would be something would be a miss, and she'd be like, "Pray I don't find out who did this."
Yeah. Down the street, Zanotti, the notorious gangster, watches the Green Mask. Look at those two guys running towards us, Zanotti. That's the Green Mask. If he's investigating the museum murders, we're stuck. When he reaches the car, slam the door against him. All right, ya brat. You're coming along. Get your hands off of me. What you gonna do with him, Zanotti? Get rid of him. The Green Mask is much too dangerous alive. Take him upstairs. And lock him in a room. We'll take care of him later. Yeah, never a good idea to leave for later what you should get done ASAP, right?
Oh yeah. I've seen way too many Bond movies to know what happens when you don't kill off the main character yourself.
Like right away, like when you
Like right there with like a gun to his. It's like who was it? Scott Evil in Austin Powers. It's like I could do it right now. I've got a gun upstairs. I can go to my room and get it. It's like you just don't get it, do you, Scott?
It's about a 60-foot drop. I have an idea. That other building's less than 4 feet away. Again, another situation where things seem like they may have been reversed a little bit there. This may not be comfortable. This may not be as comfortable as an elevator, but I'll get us down. Gosh, I hope I don't slip. That's a very interesting way to get down from a building.
You know, I've kind of got up a building that way before.
Yeah.
It's not very easy. It's a lot easier to go down that way than it is to go up. But like, I've been in that situation.
Yeah. I think they did that a couple of times in maybe the live action Batman series in the 60s. Might have done that a bit. Yeah.
That's like reminds me of the Grinch going down the chimney for the first time. In like the old animated version. Which I don't. It's been a while since I read the book. I don't know if there's ever a drawing of him doing that. I know they did draw him going down the chimney at least once, but they really exaggerate it in the animated movie version because you have to fill that whole what was it, like 45-minute run that they did for it.
So you think they might have elongated some stuff to like put in some more time, you think?
Oh yeah.
All right, Tony. You can polish off the Green Mask and the kid. Right. Beg pardon, gentlemen? Hope I'm not intruding. This is for slamming that door in my face. I don't think you're going to get out of here alive. Good boy, Domino. Get out of the way, you. Get your hands off that kid. Funny how you yellow rats always run when somebody puts up a fight. You won't get away so easily. Who's gonna stop me? That rat! Zanotti took a run out powder. Yeah, we'll fix him. We'll set fire to the joint. Good idea. That'll finish up the green mask too. Again, more fire play there.
Oh yeah, this whole comic is loaded with fire.
Well, remember this is a different comic.
Oh, we jumped to a different one. Okay, yeah, that's right. You said it was Mystery Men.
Yeah, this
our night is loaded with fire. You chose all the fire stuff.
Well, at least thus far.
Yeah. Yeah, by accident. Watch the next thing we read is also going to have fire in it.
I'm not sure because the next thing we're going to read is Golden Knight. It's going to be a little.
Watch the odds, you know.
I guess we'll wait and see when we get there.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, fire! Where's the green mask? Green mask, green mask. Domino, help me up. I've been shot. We gotta hurry or we'll be trapped in here. I hope we reach the street before the flames reach the gas. Just in time. We'd better let Professor Lascombe look at that shoulder of yours. Meanwhile, Zanotti makes a phone call. Hello, Chief. This is Zanotti. You told me to call you up about those diamonds at the City Museum. Here's what you do, Zanotti. Wait at the rear of the museum at 6 o'clock. Somebody will throw a package to you from the upstairs window. $6 million worth of diamonds in that package. That'll make the chief and me rich. I don't know how it could have happened. Good Lord, $6 million worth of jewels stolen from the museum. I'm ruined. I have a funny feeling the theft is connected with the murder of my father. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, I have a funny feeling that the theft is connected with the murder of my father. What could this have to do with the murder of Professor Carey? I don't know, but you better call the police, Dunton. Yes, sir. This lock wasn't forced. Whoever stole the jewels must have had a key. An inside job, Inspector? Nonsense. But I've an idea the man in the green mask knows something about this. And I've got to get hold of Zanotti. Do you think I can work with the shoulder? Sure. Just move that arm as little as possible. I'm sorry. Oh, sure. Just move that arm as little as possible.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Let's try to take down a villain with the only use of one arm.
Well, I think I've seen it happen before. What's all the excitement, Domino? The city museum, a whole collection of valuable jewels was stolen. We'll take a look into this. I'm an idea. I'm going to lead to the it's going to lead to the solution of Professor Carey's murder. When the Green Mask and Domino climb into the museum, they meet John Carey. I presume you are the Green Mask. Do you always climb in windows? Only when there are police about. For some reason, they don't like me. Of course, we've seen in some other early stories and some other features um, that police didn't always work with superheroes, right?
Well, here's the thing. I think I've explained this before too. There's a really, really good reason from like a legal and procedural perspective as to why you don't like undeputized masked vigilantes running around and doing justice outside the framework of the law. Especially because very often too, it can invalidate any evidence that you collect during that process.
Yeah. I guess it shows though said something here. So it's so weird that I can't work on anything with my computer in the shop. I would at least would have worked on a short story at this point.
Yeah, what I do, because I've been away from my computer for very long periods of time, and I don't know if this is viable for you when it comes to writing, but it works for me, is since I write everything in Google Docs, right, which is like Google's version of Word, their documents, you can access that from your phone. There's a Google Docs app. It's, it's a pain in the butt because it's a phone and you're using a phone keyboard, but I've been able to do a lot of writing and editing in that situation, so it's at least something.
All right. So, anyways, back to the story. But just as Carey is about to tell the Green Mask his suspicions, I won't call the police. I think you can help me. I want to tell. What happened? Somebody threw a knife. The only place from which that knife could have been thrown is that door. He's making for that car. He's making for that car. Faster, Domino. We can't let him get away. Looks as if we caught him. It looks as if we caught up. The driver of the car suddenly swerves and sideswipes a pillar. That'll fix the Green Mask. Well. Look who we've got, the Green Mask. Oh boy. We've been looking for you a long time. Well, you've got me. Let's go. All right, boys. Take off his mask, and we'll see what he looks like. With the aid of his boomerang, Domino wraps a stout rope around the policeman. No, you don't. How do you like that trick? Ye fools! You're letting the prisoner escape?
No, I don't know if they're letting him escape. It's not like they're not trying. They're just kind of tied up at the moment.
Sorry I can't stay for tea, but some other time, perhaps. So long. The next time I see you, I'll have a customer for you. Domino, look. There's Zanotti. How are you, Zanotti? Since when do you go to museums? What you want? The guy who what you want? What is it you want? The guy who's really behind the jewel robbery grab, Professor Stone. Thanks for the information. In case you have any ideas of escaping, this will change your mind. Knocks him out. All right, Professor Stone, your pal Zanotti has told me that you engineered the theft of those jewels. Oh no, you don't. Suicide's too easy. You're coming to the police and face the music. Here are the men responsible for the jewel robbery and murder of Professor Carey and his son John. Professor Stone killed Carey so he could take charge of the museum and so be in a better position to steal the jewels. John Carey suspected him, so Stone killed John to shut him up. More racket busting exploits of the Green Mask and Domino. Next issue. Mystery Men Comics is on sale the 15th of each month. All right, Metal, overall impressions of this one.
Eh.
Meh.
I don't think I have too many impressions, you know. It was kind of a thing. It was less entertaining than the previous
same as the one before.
I wouldn't call it the same. Like the problem is this one is just more of the same as like every standard kind of masked vigilante, maybe with a sidekick story. Like this was a pretty so for the time kind of like Cape Crusader thing.
Even before the whole concept of Cape Crusader even became a real thing, right? Before the term, at least.
Yeah. Before it started being used to describe these, like there were several of these guys running around doing their thing at the time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I need to go off camera here for a moment.
So do I.
Why don't you talk to Fishozo or whoever's in the chat while I'm away? So I'll be right back.
Unfortunately, he beat me to it. I'm gonna have to dip off for a second when he gets back, but turns out I don't have an eraser. I used to have plenty, but I think I've worn off all of the erasers on my mechanical pencils, which is awful. I tend to wear those off pretty quickly, though. They're not very good. Like those erasers never last as long as the actual lead in the pencil. And I guess you can always get replacement erasers for them, but it's just not as convenient. This is one thing I hate about mechanical pencils. And I found an old eraser, but it doesn't work anymore. It's just way too dirty. Maybe if I cut it in half and got to the inside. Maybe if I put it through the dishwasher. I might try that. But I don't have an eraser I can use right now. So I'm gonna have to run off the camera and see if like Marsupial has an eraser. I used to have an entire pack of unopened pencils. I think I was nice and I gave that pack of like unopened number 2 wooden pencils to his girlfriend. And now I don't have any erasers available. Maybe there's one around the house somewhere. But I have to wait till Mike gets back before I can start looking for one. Otherwise, it's really, really hard to erase the pencils that I have on the page I'm working on. See, Fissus, I think should start watching Little Witch Academia to start cataloging tropes in the wizarding school fantasy subgenre. Don't know about the Owl House show, like Owl House though. I guess I don't know. I have seen no episode of Owl House. In fact, I actually don't think I've seen any episodes of Little Witch Academia either. I always heard good things about it, but I just never watched it because it didn't necessarily seem like my cup of tea. I don't think I would dislike it particularly. Like, I don't think I'd have anything against Little Witch Academia. I just don't think it would hold my attention if I wasn't watching it with other people. And I think even though they're not even quite the same thing at all, Owl House, I think, would probably be closer to like Rick and Morty than anything because it is more of like a master apprentice situation. I probably also wouldn't be able to have my attention kept by it unless I was watching it with somebody. This is the type of thing that if it was running while I was still hanging out with Buck, it would probably just be on the TV and I'd watch a few episodes before we went out and did something. But because we don't hang out in those situations anymore, I have not watched more than a clip of that show. Is that one over? Because that's even kind of old now. Right? Like Owl House, isn't it like somewhere like 5 or 6 years old? I'm trying to think, when did that happen?
What are you talking about, Rick and Morty?
No. The Owl House was brought up in chat, and that's one where I've only ever seen like a clip of. Yeah, it is over. I thought it was over. Anyway, I was waiting for you to get back because I also need to go off camera.
Yeah, I heard you. So while
yeah,
you're
I need to go try to find an eraser.
I'll set up the next story. We're right now coming up on 122. So more than likely, this will probably be the Golden Knight. Here will probably be the last story we do tonight because by the time we get done, it'll probably be closer to like 140. Then time to start.
Yeah. I'll try to be fast.
All right. So anyway, so while we're waiting for him to come back, of course, let me go ahead and go set up the third and what will probably be the final story of the evening. Golden Knight from Fantastic Comics number 11. Little time travel, and we'll see if Metal's prediction is true. If there's another story that will involve fire, I guess we'll find out soon enough, as the saying goes. Of course, as always, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our abilities. Alrighty then, so let's get to the next one here. Fantastic comment.
I am back, and we have found an eraser.
And you found a what?
An eraser. So I can continue working on the thing I was working on.
All right, so Fantastic Comics, of course, this was also the anthology home for Samson, among others. Samson, Stardust, Space Myth, Sub-Saunders, Captain Kidd. Will also be looking at, of course, the Golden Knight in this one as well. So I grab down to that one. All right, so The Golden Knight by Greg Champion. Sir Richard, the Golden Knight of Warwick, pursues his unrelenting crusade against the oppressors of his day. He punishes the wicked, but gives succor to the needy. We find Richard and Alice continuing their journey after conquering a bloody dragon and dethroning a wicked king. Where are we? Where are we bound, Richard? Do you think this fighting and killing will ever cease? Dear Alice, we're doing good. What else matters? According to my calculations, we should reach the forest by nightfall. I hope all will go well with us. I've a strange boding. Stay close to me. My dear, cease your fanciful imaginings. Suddenly, the shadow of a huge bird looms before them.
Yeah, you want to talk about a word that never gets used anymore. I think the only time now you ever see the word, which you have foreboding, it says a strange foreboding, but nobody ever uses boding outside of foreboding.
Hmm. I didn't even realize that was one word, the way they...
Oh, yeah. It was hyphenated, but it is one word.
Yeah. That awful bird is coming straight at us. Hold tight, Alice, while I strike his head off. Oh, wow. So we might get a decapitation here.
Maybe.
Not quite, apparently. As Richard prepares to strike, the bird sweeps Alice off her horse. Help! Richard, help! As the bird leaves the ground with Alice, Richard grasps his claw. I daren't strike. I might injure Alice.
Oh, Fizz asks, what does boding mean? Well, it's technically bode, right? It is the active tense version of bode, which kind of just means to be like an omen of, to predict or foretell, right? Like you may occasionally hear somebody use the word bode in the classic phrase, this does not bode well, right? Which kind of just means that you predict that it's not going to go well. But bode is just not a word that's usually in the lexicon anymore, outside of maybe the word foreboding.
Yeah. Richard and Alice are carried swiftly away over the ocean. The bird circles a beautiful island and drops its burden. Richard, we'll be killed. They land unhurt in a large tree. Are you all right, Alice? Yes, dear. Are you? That was no ordinary bird. We have been sent for. There is something strange afoot. I wonder who lives here. No sooner does Alice utter these words when strange creatures appear in a flash of lightning. Oh, look at that! Look at that right there. You got a bird person. You got
There's a mule.
Man, you have to, long before the introduction of the high evolutionary, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's just aliens showed up, and it's like, as a knight, it's like, I have absolutely no idea what these things are. I guess they could be demons too, but I think for somebody at that time, they wouldn't see a difference between aliens and demons.
Mm-hmm. Alice, brace thyself for what is to follow. What horrid creatures! Richard steps in front of Alice. Courage, my dear. A step closer, and you'll meet your doom. Richard, we can fight them back to back. Ignoring Richard's warnings, the monsters attack. Well, of course, they probably don't understand the language.
Maybe. It really depends on what kind of monsters they are. Maybe they do understand and they're just completely ignoring them.
That could be true, too. Alice is overpowered by a huge monster and carried off. With an angry snarl, Richard whirls to cover his flank. When suddenly comes a rustle in the underbrush, and a voice commands, "Cease this useless fighting!" Intoxicated by the sound of this musical voice, Richard pauses. Do my ears deceive me? Can a human voice be so beautiful? A lovely woman steps out of the dense foliage. Ah, she does look quite beautiful, doesn't she, there, Metal?
Yeah, for a drawing.
Yeah. Save your strength, Richard of Warwick. I, Celia, Queen of the Soulless, I'll command it. Why hast thou sent for me in this manner, O Queen? I would combat thee with the sword.
Yeah, no, she was looking fine in that first panel, but she's like one of those girls that only have so many like flattering angles. Doesn't look so fine in the second one. This is a pretty bulbous chin of hers. It's a pretty masculine chin.
I would combat thee with the sword. Richard looks up in surprise. Surely you jest. I do not fight weak women. Oh boy. Could you imagine the feminists of today seeing that?
I don't know, man. Can you imagine most of the women of that time? Here's the thing that's true about women, right? A lot of them just don't like being talked down to, whether they're feminists or not.
A good point.
This is true about humans in general, not just women, but
right. Richard, thy valor rides before thee. Conquer me, and you can be my king. Fight a woman? Never. Queen Celia draws her sword. You dare refuse? Meanwhile, Alice looks on with rising anger. She's wicked. This Celia, I'll give her a fight if she wants one. Suddenly, to Richard's surprise, Alice charges Celia with drawn sword. You shall have your fight, but with me. Oh boy, I know what Jared Lawler would be saying about now.
Cat it's a cat fight.
The queen, enraged at Alice's audacity, charges with ferocity. Oh, don't you just like the illiterate, the rhyming? Suddenly, Celia trips. Alice generously allows her to regain her feet. Get up. By a ruse, Sulia takes Alice unawares. Now, Richard, fight me or forfeit Alice's life. I've no other alternative but to accept. She'll stop at nothing. Trickery is her handmaiden. That's a very interesting statement, isn't it? Oh, actually, it wasn't even a statement.
It's pretty straightforward.
She'll stop at nothing. Trickery is her handmaiden. With a blood-curdling yell, Sulia lunges at Richard. Richard engages Sulia in battle. Queen Sulia fights well, but is no match for Richard's great strength. You're conquered. Bravo, you shall rule. Oh, Richard, how could you? Send Alice whence she came, then we shall marry. Your wish is my command. Smrupt, Uger, Smrupt, Uger, Yedik. Ah! I cannot understand why Richard deserted me. But did he? Metal, do you think Richard deserted Alice?
No, I think he's got a plan too. Like, I think he's gonna turn this whole thing around. Trickery was her handmaiden, but it's gonna be his.
Out of the way, he got her to safety first.
Yeah.
Then he's gonna, I guess, teach little Miss Queen Sulia a little bit of a lesson. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Trickery was her handmaiden. Now it's gonna be his.
Richard, retiring that night, is approached by one of the monsters. Oh, sir, free us of Sulia. Only draw blood from her and our enchantment will break. The wedding of Richard and Sulia continues quietly until Richard places a ring on her finger. A twist and the hidden needle, ooh, ouch, is the ring, in the ring, draws blood. Slowly, the lifeblood oozes from Sulia's body. Oh, Richard, what have you done? Ever so gently, Richard eases Sulia to the ground. So dies an evil queen. The evil spell is broken, and the monsters become men. Many thanks, sir. A vessel awaits you in the cove. Return to Alice. And now you know all. Now you know all. We must fight against evil until justice prevails. Follow the exciting adventures of the Golden Knight. Fantastic Comics is on sale the 10th of every month. All right. So, overall, well, first off, no fire in this story there, Metal.
Yeah, I was still expecting. Hey, it could have been. There could have been a dragon or something, with the Golden Knight. It just turned out not. I was hedging my bets.
All right, well, we're at an hour 39, so I think we got through some good stories here. I think it's time to start wrapping up a bit. So, did I ask this? Did I already ask your overall impressions of this story?
No. No, you did not.
All right,
So,
overall
impression
impressions of
number
this
one,
story.
not enough
Huh?
fire. That's
Not enough
impression number
fire.
one. Yeah. Um, Impression number two, it was kind of solid. I mean, it's very standard night fare, but there's not a lot of night fare in the comics right now, so you kind of need somebody doing it. It's not really a problem having standard type of story when you're like the only person doing that type of story. So, it was good.
Yeah, this was
It's
one of
kind
the
of predictable, but it's good.
Yeah, this was one of the few, like as you put it, night stories that was going about. I mean, still a genre. It just wasn't quite as popular genre as some of the others that we talked about, like the crime noir, the superheroes.
Yeah. At least over here. When Europe was picking up quite a bit of it, there were a lot of night stories, but it's also kind of Europe's ball and game, right?
Right.
So you kind of expected more over there. We got a few later on, and I know there was like one before this too, but at like this specific time, it was like one of the only ones.
All right. So I guess it shows I had a couple of comments here. Let's get. I have a character called Gold Knight. I want to make. I don't know. I don't think I've ever read a night story ever.
Oh, I mean, they were at least historically pretty popular. You could find quite a lot of them in different formats. A lot of them are novelized. So you can find more prose stories about knights than anything. But
Well, I think even DC had a couple of like night characters,
yeah,
Shining Knight and Silent Knight. So,
yeah, and there was also what was that other old classic one? Let me think about that. It's gonna bother me. But there were a ton of them. I'm sure there's also probably plenty of comic versions of the Arthurian myth,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those.
Well, I think that's where I think in some respects that's kind of where the Shining Knight actually started out from. Shining Knight was
Yeah,
Justin the Shining Knight was actually from the Arthurian time.
yeah. There was also the character from the story of Don Quixote. Uh, got some comics where they basically took the idea of the character and they put him in different situations. Actually, gave him like a longer story than the actual original Spanish story.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think of quite a few of the different ones. But yeah, Arthurian myth is probably where most of them are.
Yeah. All right.
Obviously,
Well,
Aquaman is like the superhero version of a Night comic because much of Aquaman is based off of Arthurian myth, just put into Atlantis.
yeah. Well, as I said, we're now at 143, so now I think it's time. So we still got through three stories at least, so that's still pretty good. Um, let me go ahead and clear this out a bit here. All right. So with that being said, of course, so we had three stories tonight. We read three stories tonight, Metal. So we read, of course, the Flame, the Green Mask, and the Golden Knight. So out of the three, which one did you either like the best or made the best impression, and why? Metal, you there?
Yeah. Sorry, I just put in the private chat. I had accidentally nudged the cable to my mic and I had to reset it. So,
Oh.
like I could hear you kind of going in and out, but no input from my mic would have happened during that time. I had to reset it.
Okay, well, I'll repeat the question.
Yeah.
So of the three stories that we read tonight, Flame, Green Mask, and Golden Knight. Which one did you either like the best, or made the best impression, and why?
I think the Flame was the most fun out of them. Like, so he's kind of a cool but goofy character, right? Like he could just kind of do things, and I think it's fun when you have characters that could just kind of do things. Like their hands aren't really tied; they just kind of run around. It's like, I'm going to solve the problem. I might set a lot of people on fire to solve the problem, but I'm going to solve the problem. So that was good. Yeah.
Well, the
I
fact
think
that he
that
was
was the
coming
best
out of
portion.
fire a lot, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty cool too. I like that. It was like Merlin or something, like a magician or a classic wizard who just like, oh yeah, you want to say I'm just gonna pop out of this smoker flame real quick.
All right. Oh yeah. Now I just read your private chat.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've done that version. So, of the two remaining stories, which one did you like the least, or made the least impression on you, and why?
Probably Green Mask.
Green Mask.
It wasn't bad. It was just so same old, same old. Like it's just kind of doing the thing everyone's doing.
Yeah. All right. So, with that being said, then of course, so now we'll move on to the next segment of this show here, the last segment of the show before we head out. And of course, today is Sunday, April the 19th, 2026. So let's take a look back at this weekend in niche history. History! So, April 19, 1946. April 18th, 1926, and April 18th, 2011. All right. So first off, going back to yesterday, of course, heading back 100 years ago yesterday. 100 years ago yesterday, back to 1926. On April 18th, 1926, the Pat Sullivan cartoon short Felix the Cat Misses the Cue premiered in movie theaters on this date back in
I remember this one.
Back in 1926. Felix plots to steal some goldfish by hiding in a basket in a Chinese laundry. But the laundrymen discover him and chase him. He tunnels through the ground to try to escape and winds up digging all the way to China. Now, over the years, this has been kind of a running gag. People just digging.
Oh yeah, everyone's done it.
Yeah. Where he steals a basket of food and then tries to escape by using a skyrocket. This is back in the silent cartoon era, too. So 100 years ago yesterday, the Pat Sullivan cartoon Felix the Cat Misses the Cue, starring, of course, Felix the Cat.
My favorite cartoon character.
Yeah. Premiered on this date, or yesterday date rather, 100 years ago. With that being said, it looks like I goofed too. Moving ahead now to the next piece of niche history. We move ahead to the year 2011, 15 years ago yesterday. 15 years ago yesterday, in 2011, over in Japan, the Japanese anime Ohio Ninjatai Gatchaman produced by Kate Arrow, premiered in Japan 15 years ago yesterday. So translated as Good Morning Ninja Team Gatchaman. In 2011, Tatsunoko produced a series of 202-minute animated shorts called Good Morning Ninja Team Gatchaman for broadcast on Nippon Television's Zip television series. While the series used the original's designs, it was more comedic in nature and featured none of the original actors. The characters were instead voiced by Sota Pars, Bose, and Ani, along with actor Tomu Miyazaki. Additional shorts were produced in promotion of the Japanese launch of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
Yes, I believe Capcom paid for it themselves. I've seen a couple of them.
Yeah. So, 15 years ago yesterday, the short series airing on Zip in Japan, Good Morning Ninja Team Gatchaman, premiered on Japanese television 15 years ago yesterday. Now, moving on from there to now the, of course, next feature. We'll move on to today's date. We first off head back 80 years ago today, as on this date, 80 years ago today, back in 1946, as it were. The 30th issue of Super Mystery Comics from Ace Magazine, known then as Ace Periodicals, went on sale on this date back in 1946. There's a bi-monthly comic, 32 pages for 10 cents. So the 30th issue on this date, 80 years ago today, the 30th issue of Super Mystery Comics went on sale on this date 80 years ago, back in 1946. And finally, on this date 40 years ago today, the first ever Jim Crockett Senior Memorial Cup Tag Team Tournament took place, commonly called the Crockett Cup. Was held on April 19, 1986. The tournament featured 24 tag teams. The concept of Crockett Cup was a single elimination tag team tournament with the storyline prize of $1 million given to the winning team, along with a large trophy. The tournament was won by the Road Warriors as they defeated Ron Garvin and Magnum TA in the finals to win the tournament. Now, as this was the Jim Crockett tournament, of course, this was hosted by Mid-Atlantic Championship, Jim Crockett Promotions / Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, that was based primarily in the Carolinas and Virginia area. Actually, this was the start of the whole, the NWA starting to compete directly more with the WWE during, WWE's national expansion, as of course you had the Mid-Atlantic territory, the Georgia territory, the Florida territory, and the Central States territory all starting to work together. Obviously, we're not going to go through every single result here, but we will at the very least talk about who participated. Of course, we're told that the Road Warriors were, of course, the and here they had some. So you had, of course, Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard of the Four Horsemen representing JCP at the time. At the time, of course, Blanchard was the NWA National Heavyweight Champion, and Anderson was the World Television. They would, of course, later on win the Mid-Atlantic version of the NWA World Tag Team Championships, which would eventually become the WCW World Tag Team Championships. Giant Baba and Tiger Mask representing All Japan Pro Wrestling. You had the Batten twins, Bart and Brad Batten, representing Central States Wrestling. They were the most recent Central States Tag Team Champions. Representing Loot International up in Japan, Dino Bravo and Rick Martello would both go on to the WWE a few years later. Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell of Continental Wrestling Association from Memphis area. The Fabulous Ones representing Championship Wrestling Florida. That was Steve Kern and Stan Lane. You had the UWF Tag Champions, the Fantastic Bobby Fulton and Tommy Rogers. Let's see. Had the Midnight Express represented. They were at the time the NWA. The version of the Midnight Express that was represented here, of course, was Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton. They were the current reigning NWA World Tag. Another team that, of course, got a first round bye, the Road Warriors, the Rock and Roll Express, the Russians, the Sheep Herders, representing the Sheep Herders, who most fans would remember as the Bushwhackers in the WWE, Butch Miller and Luke Williams in the UWF, and of course Terry Taylor and Steve Williams. Williams was originally scheduled to team up with Ted DiBiase, but DiBiase was injured at the time of the tournament. So that happened 40 years ago in 1986. So on this date in 1986. So with that being said, the aftermath there. Let me so I see. Okay. Now, of course, this tournament would last for a few years in the in Jim Crockett Promotions, and then I think the last of the first round of them was done, I think, in 89 or 90 at the latest, 1990 at the latest. The tournament would of course come back in 2020. Come back in like 2019 as okay. So 1988 was the last of the original tournament, and then Billy Corrigan, who now owns the NWA, brought it back in 2019, and has basically been running it every year since, or just about every year since. So, alrighty then. So with that being said, and of course, Metal, if you can stick around for a couple minutes after the show for a post show, that'd be appreciated. But of course, before we do take off, Metal, want to give you the opportunity to, of course, promote anything you're doing. Once again, promote anything you're doing overall or this week. You know the shtick, right? You know the shtick.
Well, I do. I think sort of. I'll promote the thing that I'm literally working on right now, which I'm working on the next page of X Dynamis Chaos. I have not been very good at updating my stuff very frequently at all. Lately, people have been getting maybe 1 or 2 pages from me a year. I'm kind of comfortable right now, as far as I know. You know, I've been moving a lot. It's hard to get a flow of things when you move from place to place. So hopefully there'll be a page of X Dynamis Chaos this week, and hopefully I will keep on momentum after that. So you can go to xdynamischaos.com and you can check out all of the things I work on, whether it's comics, whether it's prose. I'm working on a tabletop game. I'm working on a trading card game as well. Or if you have a preferred place that you like to read them, I do marry them everywhere, and you can find the mirrors to X Dynamis Chaos and my other comics, like the links to them on the side panel of the website. They're all there. It's easy to find. And buy merch, support the site. I've got links to merch and stuff. Give me money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's all.
All right. So with that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. Of course, I'll be back here with more Needs tomorrow. So, and of course, we'll have quite a bit to talk about on the wrestling side of things, because of course, WrestleMania was going on this weekend, among other things. We'll see what's going on also, and of course, go through Bounty in the Comics, Bleeding Fool and that Park Place to see if there's anything in the world of comics of interest to talk about. But with all that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.